This is the last video for the different types of patterns and relationships. And in this one, we're going to go over the least common patterns and relationships that show up on your activities and tests and exams. We have classification and we have analysis. Now I'm writing these on the page on purpose, one up, one down, because they're opposite approaches to the same thing. Here's how they're different. With classification, you have to have a few details or ideas. With analysis, you have to have one detail or idea. All right, so what's the difference here? When we have classification, out of those 2 or 4, typically there's more than 2 different things that are being talked about in the passage. The author is putting them into different categories. So there's a type of like sorting or labeling that's going on with classification. It's classifying something as this kind or another kind, this type or some other type of thing, depending on what it is. Whereas analysis is taking that one detail and breaking it all apart. So you're kind of analyzing that one thing. In other words, you are showing each and every little piece. You're going more in depth. You're giving more and more specifics. You're looking at it at many different angles. But what you're looking at is that same one detail or that same one idea. So the entire passage or the entire paragraph will be looking over and over, inside and out, up and down, every nook and cranny, every part of the whole idea, the one whole idea. Whereas in classification, you're going to have a whole bunch of ideas. What do you do with them all? Well, you try to figure out how a few of them go in this kind and a few of them go in that kind. And so you do end up with sort of like a chart, a matrix, or what do we call this, a web, if you will, of a bunch of those different, categories. And then inside those categories are all the different ideas that would go with those particular kinds. Classification and analysis are usually not for relationships within or relationships between. They're usually for organizational pattern. Because as you can see, you need a lot of information. You need a bunch of stuff to put into the categories, or you need a lot of details about that one big thing that's being broken down.